Hi, I'm Ann with Cooking Light. The holiday season marks the perfect time for baking, for making sweet treats to give as gifts or to enjoy yourself to get you in the holiday spirit. It's also the perfect time then for cookies. Now, I love lemon shortbread cookies. I think they're the perfect holiday cookie. They're not too sweet, they're buttery, they're rich, and they have that great short or crisp texture. Unfortunately, with all the butter in those cookies that makes them so rich and yummy, they're pretty high in saturated fat. Okay, let's be real here. Shortbread cookies are never going to be low fat, but I can show you some techniques where you can bring down the amount of saturated fat in the cookies so that you can enjoy them more often. I'm going to start by combining some dry ingredients. I have some all-purpose flour here, and when you're baking, especially light baking, you need to be very precise with your measurements. If you use even just 1 tablespoon more flour than we intend you to use, you may end up with a dry cookie. Cornstarch is great in these cookies because it keeps them delicate and tender, but it also helps them have that crunch that you expect from a shortbread. Here I have a little bit of lemon rind. You can also use orange rind if you like, or leave it out for a more classic taste. And the rind's just going to add a little bit of a subtle floral citrus note. And last I have some salt. And then just whisk to make sure you incorporate all the ingredients together. The next step of this recipe is really simple. Just take some powdered sugar, then you're going to add butter and oil. Now with butter, I want to talk a little bit about this ingredient. Softened butter is butter that you can put your finger into and see your fingerprint, but it's not too soft. You want it pliable but not spreadable. I strongly caution you against putting it in the microwave to soften it if you're in a hurry. It's just too easy to take it too far and get it melted or just too soft. If your butter's too soft, your cookies are going to run all over the pan when you try to cook them. Just leave it out at room temperature for 30 to 45 minutes. Or if you're in a bigger hurry, you just got to have those cookies, cut it into about 1 tablespoon pieces and leave it out at room temperature for 10 to 15 minutes. So I add the butter to the bowl with the powdered sugar, and then here's our canola oil. We're replacing some of the butter with canola oil. Vegetable oils are rich in heart-healthy, unsaturated fats, and that's what makes this version of the cookie a lot better for you. You'll love this part of the recipe because you get to get your hands dirty. You don't need any special equipment, just use your fingers to incorporate all of those ingredients. Now I'll just mix the dry ingredients into the wet and continue using my hands. Ooh, it smells good. The lemon rind really comes through. One of the reasons why I love this recipe is that you get in here with your hands, you're not messing up a lot of your dishes, and it's just part of the fun. You feel like a kid playing in the dough. And now that everything's thoroughly incorporated, I'll just put the dough onto some plastic wrap and refrigerate it for about 30 minutes to let it firm up a little bit. Okay, the dough has chilled. Then I'll put it onto a baking sheet coated with cooking spray and pat it out into an 8 by 5 inch rectangle. Now I'm just going to poke the entire surface with a fork, and this keeps it from rising. And now I'll just pop this in the oven. With one great trick, using a combination of butter and oil, we've cut the amount of saturated fat by more than half. The cookies are still great and crisp and have that wonderful flavor and texture you expect from shortbread. For more great tips on lightening up the classics, pick up a copy of Cooking Light and visit cookinglight.com.